Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, a.k.a. the 110 Soldier. What is going on? All right, real quick note. Last night, saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Go see it. So good. So good. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds. I'll keep it sports. He has that great show, Welcome to Wrexham. Go check that out, too. Very underrated show. Actually made me care about soccer, but god dang it. That was so perfect. No spoilers. Just, it was awesome. Go ahead and see it. It was a huge thing. I've been waiting for it. I anticipated it, and it lived up to everything I thought it was going to be. So, I don't know. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go check that out. But let's get into it. I got way too much to do and very little time to do it. First thing, talking about anticipation, things that are going on. The Olympics are here. Yay, Olympics. This is the 131st now. This is the one in Paris. It's actually 3 years, not 4 years. We had that weird COVID situation. They'll go back to the 4-year cycle after this next Olympics here in Paris. 329 events, 32 sports. They're going to go green. There's no air conditioning, although the United States and others said you can take that and stick it. We brought our own. But still, it's going to be a huge event, obviously. I mean, you think about it, 131 times. That's almost 1,000 years. That's a long time we've been doing these Olympics here. And so this is going to be another cool thing to go ahead and kind of keep us satiated through the lack of football season, and WNBA's taking a break. Baseball is, it's okay. But you know what I mean? It's a good time to enjoy some new things, some sports once every 4 years. And a lot of us are looking forward to it. I know the Olympians themselves are looking forward to it, which leads me to my first story before I get into the things you got to see, is that I know why they're looking forward to it. Pop this up here for you, Mateo. The Olympics are here. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Olympics are here. Y'all can tell me this part of the story isn't fascinating to y'all. God damn it, it's fascinating to me. These Olympics and the Olympians go there and they hump like rabid dogs. This is like my favorite story that gets kind of swept under the rug. In case y'all don't know, it is a very common phrase amongst the Olympians. What happens in the village stays in the village. I mean, dude, they have so much sex. I mean, they are just getting it on for 2 weeks nonstop. I mean, I have heard anywhere from 100,000 condoms to up to 300,000 condoms are going to be passed around these, about 10,000 athletes. It's at least 30 to 40 condoms a person. I mean, the entire time they are just dang, banging each other like a drum. It is insane. But it makes sense if you think about it. I mean, 72% of these Olympians are aged 20 to 30 years old. They're at the height of like their peak physical condition. A lot of them have been very sheltered. It's a very lonely life, training all day. A lot of them are homeschooled. They're taken away from regular life, and they have this sheltered lifestyle where they're just peak full of testosterone and estrogen, and suddenly they're around all these beautiful people in this Vegas-style situation, and they're put into this, this kind of village where there's no prying reporters anymore. There's no a-hole parents, no overprotective people keeping an eye on them, and suddenly they're just thrust into a world full of nothing but other beautiful people for 2 straight weeks. They say the dining hall is like a high school cafeteria if everybody was the hottest person in their school, all loaded in one room. They're excited, they're nervous, some of them get upset when they lose, they're vulnerable. These are a bunch of athletes that are lonely and misunderstood, and finally they're surrounded by a bunch of other beautiful people that have things in common with them. Next thing you know, it's just I'm sorry. I think that's great. Good for them. Good for them. I mean, if nothing else, you're gonna leave with something. May not leave with a medal. You may leave with an STI. But they are passing out condoms again. Over 100,000 condoms at least. And the stories. Oh, the stories. You need to go ahead and Google some of these. They are just bananas. Some examples. Vancouver, 2010. They said they were out there and they were having orgies in the whirlpool. London, 2012. The Grindr app just crashed after minutes of the athlete's arrival. They said people are out in the open. They're on the grass. They're between the buildings. They're just getting, quote, down and dirty. 2008, Beijing. They called it the Sex Fest, and they said there was, quote, more sex than Woodstock. 1988, going back to 88 in Seoul, they had to ban outdoor sex because, again, they're just doing it everywhere. They're just banging on the floor, on the ground. They're just all over the place. They're just... Anywhere I want. I mean, they just go insane. There was a plane ride, famously, 2000. It was going back from Sydney to the L.A. The people, the flight attendant people had to be like, hey, if you're not part of the Olympic thing, kind of they had to rearrange it because the entire back was just, again, a Caligula scene. It might be a reference for some of you younger kids may not get, but Google it and you'll find out. 2016 Rio, they said 450,000 condoms were passed out, including 100,000 female female condoms. The idiot swimmer we had, Ryan Lochte, said it's like 70 to 75%. Again, just getting it on.
Anywhere I want, I'll on these walls, I'll on the cabinets, on the furniture, I'm everywhere.
Mateo, that's interesting. I don't care what anyone says. That's awesome. I mean, good for them. I mean, there's other things to focus on, so I'll move on. But just in case you didn't know, they be getting it on at the Olympics, and so Google some of that. It's pretty interesting stuff. And again, it makes total sense when you put a bunch of protected, peak athlete people that are like 20 years old, suddenly thrust them into the world, and next thing you know, they're all doing their thing. But there's more important things to get into, including the actual Olympics themselves. I didn't want to bore you with everything, so I'm basically going to give you my top 5. Give me this next one, Mateo. This is going to be the top 5 things that are must-see at the Olympics. Top 5. Quick reference for my old stoners out there. Top 5 of the things you must see at the Olympics. I did not include swimming or archery or badminton. Boxing will be kind of interesting, I guess, but it's not the same as regular boxing. Cycling, soccer. I didn't really give a shit this year about soccer. Skating, surfing, don't know much about it. They do have ping pong, which is cool, I guess. Tennis will be somewhat interesting with Coco. I'll get into Coco here in just a little bit. Volleyball, weights, wrestling, all that type of stuff. I really didn't get into those, and if you'll notice in the picture too, one of them is crossed out, and that's going to be at the end of the show. I got something to say about that whole group. We got some things we got to discuss here. But here we go. Top 5 things we need to go ahead and watch this year at the Olympics. I'll break them down for you. Top 5. Let's go with number 1. The lady on the left there, Simone Biles. Simone Biles is arguably the most watch, or at least the most must-watch of the entire Olympics. Matter of fact, statistically, that's actually true. They did a new poll. Only like 35% of Americans are actually interested in the Olympics, which I find kind of sad. But they said 42% of those 35%, the most anticipated, so almost half, was like, we're all here to watch Simone. 66% had that in the top 3, so 2/3. Simone Biles is going to be the most watched part of this, possibly. And the gymnastics is a very interesting story this go around at the Olympics because they're kind of their own redeem team. If y'all forget, they did the whole thing in Tokyo, and Simone specifically, our GOAT, our greatest. There's no debate about that. Simone is the greatest gymnast that Olympics have ever seen, America's definitely ever seen, and I would argue in world history. She is that level of GOAT. But if you remember, in Tokyo, we had a little bit of a mishap there, and Simone, ended up pulling out of the middle of the events there because she got the twisties and said she needed a mental health break, and so she just decided to not compete in the last part of the events. We ended up losing the team all around, which we usually don't. We ended up losing, I believe, to Japan, or I forget. Oh, no, Russia. I'm sorry. We lost to Russia because Simone decided to take a mental health break. And it leads me to a quick discussion, and I'm going to save this more for another day, but I'll put it up for a little bit now. Mateo's already got it up there for me, but I appreciate it. I do want to talk quickly about this whole mental health, and it's going to be a big discussion in the Olympics.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
Yeah, I'm torn on this because I'm not a doctor and I'm quite an idiot. So when you combine those things, it makes for me having a dangerous discussion with this. But mental health has been a big part of sports and just the world discussion for a while now. As you see on the picture there, you got Coco, who's going to be in the Olympics, Simone, Ben Simmons famously did it, Osaka in tennis. There's been others as well. And it's kind of this, I'm old, so I'm on the old school versus the new school here. I'm more on like the, you can cry in the storm or dance in the rain. I was taught to tough things out, to push through, and maybe to my own, hurt or detriment. I'm not sure. And so it's going to be an interesting dynamic, and it's going to continue to be a big discussion, especially with Simone, because, again, famously at the Tokyo Olympics, in the Olympics, she just decided, I got the twisties, which is where you can't control your body in the air. I'm having mental health issues, and she just stopped. She just said, I'm not going to compete anymore, and we ended up only getting silver that year. It was great for that girl Lee because she ended up being able to shine, but I mean, still, it was a heavy topic of discussion. Again, Coco and Osaka, when they took breaks, was a big part of the discussion. Ben Simmons' mental health has been questioned going back to since he's been drafted, and it's kind of... I mean, I get it. They want to, the new school says we got to break the stigma. And let me just break down to two separate things of thoughts here. The new school says we got to break this. Too many people, especially athletes, are taught to not seek help. 5% to 35% have mental health problems. There are studies in college for college athletes that say it's up to 50%. 50% of all college athletes suffer overwhelming anxiety, OTS syndrome, eating disorders, PTSD, sleep disorders. Again, Simone and the gymnast, that's a term they have called the twisties, where they get so stressed about all that pressure that they're suddenly put under that they can't handle it, and suddenly they can't control themselves in the air. I've seen it in baseball. There was a guy named Chuck Knobloch, got the yips. Other ones have gotten the yips where the pressure just gets to them, and suddenly they can't even field a baseball anymore. I mean, it's a real thing, and I get it. Unfortunately, though, I'm old. I'm an old-ass man. I come from the old school of, the idea that you deal and push through adversity, that it's not just necessary to not quit when the going gets tough, but that's actually what makes you grow, and that's what makes you tough. 70% of people that experience an adversity and are able to push through it have positive psychological growth, according to major studies out there. And they say the most powerful way to combat this anxiety and all this pressure that all these people are feeling nowadays is to build resilience and to get quote unquote mental strength. That's how actually you do it. That you don't just call it quits and say it's getting too hard and I don't want to do this, I'm going to go sit down. They say there's studies at least on the other side of this to at least somewhat argue a medical, retort there, is that a lot of people say the best thing to do for anxiety is to learn how to handle that anxiety through going through those rough patches, even though it seems maybe overwhelming or something you can't do. And I mean, I think of the sports that I grew up with. Kobe in his rookie year with the 3 air balls in the playoffs, he didn't quit next year. He decided to go in the gym that night after that embarrassment versus the Jazz. Magic Johnson, when he failed in the finals in the 80s and was made fun of everywhere, again called tragic instead of magic, he came back better than ever. Guys like Joe Dumars, Brett Favre, Michael Jordan, at different parts of the season, but finding out that their fathers died. Joe Dumars found out after the game in one of the finals and continued to go and played very well. So dealing with the death of parents, and Hank Aaron, go Google what poor Hank Aaron had to do trying to break Babe Ruth's home run record when you're a black man in the 60s and 70s. Did not go very well. And you want to talk about some pressure. Jesus Christ. Carrie Strug, to keep it and put it back to Simone Biles in the Olympics there. A lot of people look back at that now and say that was terrible the way that they did that. But when she had the sprained ankle and she could barely walk and she was able to hit that last thing on the vault, and then, suddenly it was this indelible moment in time. So I go from that group, man, and I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right, because I was talking about this with some people, and they made a good point, because I was like, look at all the GOATs and the people that have put themselves through this and struggled and been able to persevere. And then I thought about it, and they're like, yeah, look at those GOATs and how they're doing now. You show me an all-time GOAT, I'll show you someone who's got a little bit of issues.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
I hate to say it, but Michael Jordan is most likely an alcoholic. Mantle, Ruth, and Cobb all fall into that same category. Tom Brady, another GOAT, chose football over his family. He'd rather be 9-7 with the Buccaneers, lost his family, at least in a big way, a divorce and everything else, and now, all sorts of struggles there because of his decision, because he thought football was the most important thing in the world. Tiger, do I even need to talk about Tiger? Losing golf, his sex addiction, losing his wife. Magic Johnson, do I even really need to go there? That dude had sex with everybody in Los Angeles, apparently. Magic got it on. Ali is arguably okay, but he was also somebody who, most likely, a lot of people want to say that it was, a disease. He might have just taken too many shots to the dome because he boxed way too long. Famously, at the end of his career, there's a documentary about it, and he seemed punch drunk. So again, I'm trying to say, well, look at these GOATs that fought and did all this and went through the struggle, and then you look back and go, well, oh shit, almost every one of them is arguably crazy. Almost every one of them, so what's the cost, I guess, is my point. I think I've gotten too far into this discussion. I want to save this again for another day because I want to get back to Simone. But it is an interesting discussion. New school versus old school, saying we got to deal with this, got to stop being a stigma. And the old school like me being like, oh, you just got to tough it out. And then you look at the ones that have actually toughed it out, and almost all of them are crazy.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
It's an interesting discussion for another day, but I'll move on because the Simone Biles thing is really what I want to discuss. Again, probably the most number one thing you have to watch in this Olympics. We can cut to this video here. She truly is the GOAT. Simone Biles is insane. If you haven't watched Simone Biles, you're missing out. This girl's a stud. 27 years old, 4'8" little dynamo, possibly her last Olympics. Just got married last year, by the way. Congratulations there. 37 total medals, the most in gymnastics history. She's the 6-time world all-around champion. She's the 6-time floor champion. She's the 4-time champion of the beam, 2-time of the vault, 3-time sportswoman of the year. She has 5, now 6 signature moves. She just included a new one that came out today. She has 6 moves that are all solely hers. She has 6 signature moves. She went through a lot of struggles growing up, too, to become who she is. She's an inspiration. Grew up in foster care until she was 6. She was part of that whole Nasser sex scandal, which was also very sad. But, I mean, she is by far the greatest gymnast that we've ever seen. And this might be her final bout. This might be the last time we see Simone Biles. Next Olympics, she'll be 31 years old, a few years into a marriage. Maybe she wants to move on because she already is, again, without question, considered the GOAT. And watching her do her thing, I mean, she's like just springboarding. She is so fun to watch. She's got that beautiful smile. I mean, I'm very excited to see Simone and the girls try to get their redemption here. Again, getting silver last year. But Simone specifically, shout out to you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully you don't get the yips or the twisties or whatever, and we can all just have a great moment with you because, you know, you don't get to see greatness like that all the time. Simone is truly, arguably, the greatest gymnast that has ever lived. The numbers are there. The medals are there. It's all real. 6 signature moves. 6 of them. That's bananas. Moving on to something else you want to have to go see. On track for gold. Hit me with this one, Mateo. Are we on track for gold? This is an interesting thing with our 2 sprinters because we arguably have, and actually we do statistically now have right now, the 2 fastest on the male and female side. We have the fastest sprinters in the entire world right now, according to the last races. But they are interesting characters, to say the least. We have Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri Richardson. And look, track and field, even though it has some team events, is really an individual sport. Anything that becomes an individualistic sport, you're just going to get more personality and a little more, arguably narcissism or, ego or whatever. I mean, even in football, like wide receivers, they have to be kind of a me-first person. You look at, tennis, you get a lot of personality in tennis. Track and field is in that same category of a lot of it's just me versus the world, me. And they get very eccentric, to say the least. And so a lot of y'all might remember Sha'Carri Richardson famously from the last Olympics. This is something I hope she's able to overcome, and her whole thing with the marijuana.
I love weed, okay? I love it.
Sha'Carri is going to be in the 100 meters and 200 meters this year, 10.72 in one of her latest events. She's the 6th fastest ever timed in the 100-meter on the women's side of the 100-meter dash, but she missed the Tokyo Olympics, and a lot of people might remember the whole story. Her biological mother had died. She found out through a reporter, and she decided to eat some edibles or smoke and get high to try to forget about it.
I love weed, okay? I love it.
She knew it was a no-no, but I mean, she was dealing through a tragedy, and then they ended up banning her from the Olympics and being able to compete, and it became a whole story. And look, I was on her side because I admit, it is very silly. Like, to me, I mean, marijuana, I don't care what anyone says, and don't let any athlete convince you otherwise. Marijuana is a performance enhancer, period. It just is not, there's nothing beneficial if you can be clear-minded versus high off your ass as you're talking to someone who smoked weed for a very long time and then quit. I'm telling you, the clarity and everything else is different. But I mean, in the end, that was her choice. She was going through a tragedy. And if I'm another person in track and field, I would love for weed to be legal. I would be so happy. Hell, I would hand out blunts before the race. If I could be the only one who's not high, I would hand out blunts to everybody. Dude, everyone get high as a kite.
I love weed, okay?
Get high as a giraffe's asshole. I am all for it. Why would I not want other people to do it? It's a performance enhancer. The drug testing in the Olympics is supposed to be, to stop performance enhancers. But she didn't know it was a rule. She did break it, and she got caught, and she owned up to it. And I do feel bad for her. And now she at least has a chance for a comeback story here. And she's a lot of fun to watch. She's cool. She's she's this big flowing hair. She's got the long nails. Again, track is all about kind of a show and preening kind of attitude there. Sha'Carri is all about it. She flaunts. She does her thing. She's fast as shit. Hopefully she gets her gold medal here in the 100 at least and becomes officially the fastest woman in the world, able to redeem herself from everything that happened. So keep an eye on Sha'Carri Richardson. She'll be coming up here very soon in the Olympics. The other one is Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles, I'm a little more torn on.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum talk.
Noah would be, I guess, self-assured, or some might just say arrogant. He is, again, also the fastest man in the world currently at a 9.83 100-meter dash. He's also competing in the 200 where he ran a 19.52. Noah Lyles is an amazing sprinter. There is no debate there. He's one of the greatest sprinters we've had in a long time there. He has 6 world titles, but only a bronze so far in Tokyo in his last Olympics. So this time he's really trying to establish himself as the great sprinter and the next kind of Carl Lewis of our generation. Says he wants 4 gold medals, which put him in a very, very short company there with, again, like Carl Lewis, Jesse Owens, and like one other guy for Olympic sprinters to get 4 golds, and says he wants to beat Usain Bolt. You know, he says a lot of shit. And I guess that let me talk about Noah for a second, because Noah says a lot of shit. Famously, unfortunately, kind of his Allen Iverson practice, Noah said this a while ago. Mateo, if you can hit this for me. A lot of people might remember, talking about the world.
And they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times. But that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
And obviously,
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum
people
talk.
were able to remind him, hey, Noah Dipstick, look at the NBA right now. Luka, Jokic, Wemby. We had 5 Frenchmen drafted. SGA, Embiid, South Sudan just gave them a heck of a competition in the Olympics. There's 92 countries that have been represented in the NBA. 25% of them are foreign born. What the hell are you talking about? It was just a really stupid thing to say. But again, this is, what sprinters kind of create. This kind of me first, everyone else is second, but look at me, they're not world champions, I'm world champions. Why are you focused on them? You should be focused on me. It's kind of, he's the epitome of it. The thing that bothers me with Noah, though, I don't mind shit talkers, and they even have a Netflix sprinter show where they talk about her and Sha'Carri, and they said, we gotta, promote more, show and go and shit talking in track, and that's fine. America loves a shit talker, but when Noah doesn't back it up, he reverts back into victim mode, and that's where it gets a little eye-rolly, because he got very, people pointed out to him, hey, dipstick, there's a lot of foreign dudes in the NBA. They go around the world to find their players. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, no, y'all are just hating. And then again, in Tokyo, he was supposed to win in Tokyo, ends up only getting bronze. He suddenly went to the podium and he's crying about his brother, and he had to take antidepressants, and he's going through stress. And and he brought up like BLM and political movements. It's like, bro, no one's trying to address that. We're all addressing the fact that you talked ridiculous shit and then you didn't perform. Nobody wants to hear that. If you want to be a shit talker, be a shit talker. We love guys who can back it up. I mean, Ali could back it up. Ruth could back it up. Namath could back it up. Bird, MJ, Kobe could back it up. If you can back it up and talk your smack, but don't talk your smack, and then when you lose or don't live up to performance, suddenly be like, oh, I'm really sad, and you got to understand. Bullshit. You want to stay cocky, stay cocky. No one minds. America's built on cocky. You know what I mean? Our election is right now built on cocky. We love cocky, but I mean, you got to stay cocky in loss, and that's the key with Noah. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, this dude is trying to be a rock star. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He says he's going to beat Usain Bolt. Beat his times. Have fun with that. In case you don't know, Usain Bolt ran a 9.63 100-meter dash, which is bananas. He says he's going to beat Usain Bolt. He's going to get 4 gold medals, and He's going to join Jesse Owens and Carl Lewis, and he's going to be this great trash-talking dude, and So back it up. Do your thing, and I'm going to watch, because obviously when you do that, it helps create eyeballs. So everyone keep an eye on Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri, see if they're able to do their thing. But again, they both claim of like, oh, y'all don't like a flamboyant shit talker. No, we love it, but you got to back it up. And if you don't back it up, that's fine, but then don't cry. Don't act like a baby if things don't work out in your favor. That's the little thing you got to learn there. But still, they'll be fun to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on then track and field. Again, Noah Lyles, Sha'Carri Richardson are going to be the must-watch of those 2 events there. All right, moving on to the next one here. This is interesting, and I don't know how the hell this is going to go before you play the video here. There's a new event in the Olympics, a brand new event here. Breakdancing.
Let's dance, Ben Affleck.
Hit the video here for me. I brought up a reference. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't get too cranky with me here. We're going to throw for gold. Breakdancing. is going to be in the Olympics. In the world of weird events, I'm not mad at it. I mean, we've had synchronized swimming, badminton, horse dressage, handball, ping pong, curling. Why not breakdancing? From the Bronx of NY to the Eiffel Tower of why the hell not? In Paris, we're going to get down. Hope Turbo and Ozone are coaching, man. Teach them how to pop and lock. It's going to be like this. 16 B-boys and 16 B-girls are going to face off in solo contest August 9th, August 10th, with windmills and six-step and freezes and a bunch of other terms I don't really know. But they're going to be breakdancing for gold. It's going to be a breakdance battle. I love it. Let's get it on, man. They're going to be breaking from traditional format, quote-unquote, too, which is interesting because how are they going to judge it? And I guess that's been one of the big discussions. They've had a couple experimental runs. But, it's breakdancing is supposed to be a freestyle and a battle and a competition. But, if you think of skating or gymnastics, they have, moves you have to do. It's very structured. So how do you take something as freeform and created from hip-hop as breakdancing and put it into a judging format fairly? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Again, it's 16 boys, 16 girls. It's going to be 8 one-on-one duels for 60-second throwdowns. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be interesting. What the hell? Breakdancing Olympics. The saddest part, by the way, of all this is that we're not even the favorites. We invented this. Again, comes from New York. We invented breakdancing. Apparently, we're not even close to the favorites, Mateo. We got a dude from Canada named Wizard. We got some dude from Japan named Shigakix. We got some dude from France, Danny Amir from Kazakhstan. We're going to lose to Kazakhstan in breakdancing? What are we doing? The women have one girl, Logistics, who's supposed to be good, but she's supposed to lose to Amy from Japan. We can't keep losing at sports we invent. This is a personal frustration with me. We gotta break out our Turbo and Ozone, man. We gotta do it. Take it to the streets, baby. I don't know what you got to do, but we can't lose to France, Japan, Canada, and Kazakhstan in breakdancing. No, I refuse. We cannot keep losing the sports we invented. It's bullshit. But again, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's the first time ever we've ever done it. Breakdancing in the Olympics. I'm here for it. I hope you're here for it. And again, August 9th, August 10th, check it out. I love this movie. I can't help myself. I had to do the whole thing. Electro rocks. That's going to be their other countries. TKO, take a hike. Actually, we're going to get our ass kicked. We're going to get our ass kicked at our own sport. That sucks.
They took our job.
Taking our jobs, man. Speaking of taking our jobs, let me go to the other thing, another must-see we got to go to. USA basketball, men's basketball. I'm going to talk about the women's here in a little bit. Men's basketball, I'll say this to you. Beware the bullseye. Speaking of taking our jobs.
They took our job.
It's bananas how much the world is caught up. Beware the bullseye. Right now, we are going for our 5th straight gold, but we have struggled in the in-between ones, the FIBAs and the other things. Last FIBA, we only got 4th place. Now we have, the prevailing American attitude is that, we send you our B teams, and when the A teams show up, we kick your ass. And historically, that's been right. Again, we're going for our 5th straight gold medal. But, man, the world is caught up. If y'all caught the prelim games, dude, it was close every single game almost. I mean, South Sudan was Buster Douglas level upset. For people that don't realize, the South Sudan game, which took LeBron hitting a last-second shot, and shout out to LeBron, and I'll get to him a little bit more here in a minute. But, I mean, South Sudan, to give you an idea of how much the world has caught up to us in basketball, is a country only 13 years old and had, no indoor gyms whatsoever. They were a 43.5-point underdog. And people say that, and I don't think it really, sinks in of just how much that could have been the biggest embarrassment, and still kind of was only winning by 1. Vegas, if you went to the people, the experts in Vegas, and said, hey, I have America winning today by 42, they thought that was unfair. They said, no, they should win by at least 43 or more points today. It took us one layup at the last second because we almost lost to South Sudan. I mean, the world now, we're going to be going against 60-plus NBA players on 12 teams in 12 other countries. Greece has Giannis. Serbia has Jokic. France has Wemby. Canada has SGA and Brooks. I mean, these are all teams that could take the gold from us and, again, take basketball from the country. And I know Canada technically, but you know what I mean? We invented basketball. Don't try this shit. America has been the basketball, capital of the world for a very long time. Now we got Serbia, France, Canada, and Greece all coming up looking for our necks. You cannot take our jobs.
They took our jobs.
It is embarrassing that we almost lost to South Sudan. And the other thing that's very prevalent as I'm watching these games, it is very clear to me that other countries' stars care about this a lot more than ours. Like, our country stars care, and I'm not saying they don't, because, I mean, these guys, and it's a privileged position. They're all, $200 million and more going, to take their offseason to play for our country, and other, situations aren't always like that. But, I mean, the stars, the Jokic's, the Giannis's, the Wemby's, they care more. You can see it. And I mean, we can get into a whole discussion of why, and that's a whole other thing for a whole other day. All I'm saying is I've noticed it. The other country stars play harder for their country than they do at the NBA. And if you looked at the Serbia game, Jokic was a perfect example of that. Jokic, Mr. I don't give a shit. I just want to horse race and drink beer and go home. I don't want to go to parade. That guy suddenly was locked in defensively. He's calling out assignments, and he's focused, and he's fired up. I'm like, who the hell? The same fat Serbian I've seen in Denver just limp his way through like, I guess I win. Did I score 40? I don't give crap. I want to go home. Suddenly this dude is locked in like he's Kobe in Game 7, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys really care about this. Like, this is something they take very, very seriously, that America takes seriously, but not everyone on the team, and you can just see the difference. Their stars care more. For whatever reason you want to tell me is another discussion, but they clearly care more about this than we do, so that's another reason it's scary. We did, assemble the Avengers, and I do like the nickname because I'm a Marvel guy. Again, shout out Deadpool 3, Wolverine was amazing. But, I mean, we brought Steph in for the first time. We brought back Anthony Davis. We now got Anthony Edwards in his first Olympics. Guys like Booker and Embiid. I'm sure that was a little interesting, getting the whole visa or whatever he had to do to get us on, get him on our team, but that's great. Kevin Durant is going to come back now from the prelims. A lot of people are saying, hey, you can't judge what happened there because we didn't have Kevin Durant yet. Is he going to be the savior? I don't know if it's that serious, but obviously Kevin Durant, one of the greatest ever, will help. You get one loss allowed. We've done this before in previous Olympics in the early round. So if we lose one of the first ones, we don't have to necessarily panic. But once we get to the medal round, it's like an NCAA tournament, man. It's one and you're out. And almost every of the last games were close. 4 of the last 7 games that USA has played was decided by 7 points or less. South Sudan was down to the last 8 seconds. It's this is kind of not just the super team argument that we need to get into. The other problem, besides the fact that, again, that the other stars from other countries seem to care more about this, is that getting this level of talent to know their roles and watching them have to reset the hierarchy when they don't have a lot of time to do it is a very difficult thing that other countries that have good players, they don't really have to deal with. And so that's another part that needs to be addressed, is that it's harder for the USA versus the rest of the world when you have nothing but 12 stars and they all have to find, only 2 or 3 can be the man or the scorer. The rest of them got to find a role. And there's too much, an idea of, well, they can do it. Just because they can do it, they're not used to doing it. You got to remember, all 12 of these guys individually, except for Derek White, come from, a situation where people do the work for them. Just because they can do it doesn't mean that they're used to doing it or that they're going to accept that role quickly when they're not used to being in that situation. Suddenly, again, if you're a mid-level guy like a Bam Adebayo, hey, don't worry about scoring. You got to, just worry about rebounds and defense. And it's like, bitch, I score 20 a game. I'm a star player on my team. I'm an all-star. It's like, oh, I'm not here. Not here, you're not. You need to know your role and play your position. Other countries, they have their main guys. It's like, dude, it's clearly Jokic's team. It's clearly Giannis's team. It's clearly Wemby's team. And, a couple other guys. But other than that, everyone else just fit in, get in where you fit in. Basketball is beautiful, but it's also cursed in that way because other team sports, it's easy. Baseball is very easy. This is your position. This is all you do. Cool, I got it. Football, same thing. We've separated stuff. You're a lineman, you block. Well, I can catch, I can run, I don't give a shit. That's not your job. Your job is here to block today. Everyone else gets to kind of be like, hey, this is what you do, focus on that, and do it to the best of your ability. Basketball has to be kind of decided almost not even verbally. Like, a lot of times you just kind of, it's like dogs in a dog park. Dogs can kind of just figure out, who's the alpha and who's not. And they don't sit there and write notes and do a pros and cons list. You know what I mean? There's just a way of a natural order that is in all animals, including us, where we kind of figure out, the whole system and who's at the top and who goes down to the bottom, who does what, who gets the glory, who has to, pick up the scraps. And so doing that in the USA basketball format, when you have 12 guys who are not used, none of them, to picking up the scraps. You know what? I don't shoot today, bitch. I'm going to do my thing. No. You got to play defense. You got to rebound. You have to do other things that include helping this team win that no one's going to really pay attention to. And you're not going to get any glory for it, but actually that's what's going to make us better. At the most you can have like 2 ball handlers. You can have maybe 3 scorers. But most of them, other than that, you need 3 and D players. You need rebounders. You need hustlers. You need guys who will dive for loose balls. You need people that aren't worried about getting in foul trouble. You need all this stuff that 12 alphas aren't getting used to doing, suddenly have to adjust to it. And the best way I can compare it again is like dogs at a dog park. It's funny. Sometimes the little one will be the biggest one of the group, and I don't know how they figure it out, but they kind of do. Basketball is beautiful and cursed that way in that you have to figure it out, and USA is going to have to figure it out. Again, 7 of the last games, 4 of them have been by 7 or points or less. It has been a close contest. So it's going to be a lot of in the old dogs we trust too, which is interesting. There's kind of an old and young battle. Again, Kevin Durant's coming back. Anthony Edwards is arguably the man. He wants to be the man. He claims he wants all the smoke, but it's hard for the other guys to give it all to a 22-year-old. I think he'll be the third option. Steph, because of his lack of aggression sometimes and kind of wanting to be, given the leadership title, I think will be the secondary scorer. The interesting thing, and the thing that showed up so far in all of this and what you should watch for in USA basketball, is that at 39 years old, pop this video up for him here, Mateo, LeBron James is clearly the alpha right now. Like I said, a lot of these games have been close. He has been king clutch, man. LeBron at 39 years old is leading this team, both on the court statistically, off the court with his attitude, and then also on the court with his attitude of just, projecting strength and, put the team on my shoulders and I got this. That game against Germany, he reminded me of MJ. He reminded me of Kobe. That attitude that I'm not going to effing lose today, it seems to have finally rubbed off on him of like, dude, don't be the team player. Don't be the nice guy. We need you to kick some ass, and we need you to do it right now. I'm suddenly watching LeBron. He did it again. Germany, he had 11 points in the fourth quarter in the last 4 minutes. South Sudan, he had 25 points in 23 minutes, the game-saving shot with 9 seconds left. At 39 years old, LeBron James is on the arguably best roster that we've assembled since the 92 Dream Team, and he is clearly the dude. Like, he's muscling cats. He's hitting threes, again, barking at other dudes. He's telling them, hey, at the end of the game, clear the hell out of the way. I got this. MJ, Kobe, Bird. I've seen this before. I hadn't seen it much through him. I'm enjoying it. And again, it's fascinating as he hit that last one. He's flexing now. This is his new move. But, teammates are out at half court. He's leading this team at 39 years old, about to be 40, on a very, very good roster. LeBron James is clearly the best player on the floor. So I'm glad to see it. But I do got to throw this in. Hit the next picture for me, Mateo. Where's this been, man? I don't want to, I called it the withered soldier here, and I'm making a joke a little. But, at 39 years old, for him to be the best player on the floor on a very, very talented roster, it's hard for me to not go like, dude, where was this at 29? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where was this when you were younger? Where was this attitude, this killer? And a lot of times we don't know what we have until we lose it, or we're about to lose it then suddenly. But, it just, it makes you wish, man. It really does, because LeBron, look, people get so butthurt about this conversation. LeBron James, and I know I'm going to anger some of you with the LeBron stuff here. His legacy is going to be, in my opinion, his longevity. His sustained greatness is second to nobody. LeBron James is going to do his 21st season, again, 40 years old. He is still, 25, 7-7. And, the argument is going to be that he had longer, more sustained, more productive careers than any other NBA player. The only one who's actually been around long enough to see his son play with him. But you look at Kareem at the end of his career, MJ at the end of his career, it might have been for different reasons or whatever. They weren't what he was at the end of his career. So the argument is always going to be with LeBron, sustained greatness, longevity.
It's the only argument I need, Sean.
He has the most career points. He's fourth in assists career-wise. He has 4 MVPs. He was in 20 All-Star games. But it's hard for me to not go, dude, that's cool and that's great. But, I wanted to see at 29 something we never should have ever been able to replace. It really is. When you watch him at 39 do his thing, it's like, bro, you should have put up numbers at 20. Like, if anything, it just makes my argument even more.
It's the only argument I need, Sean. Sean.
Like, instead of, a lot of people want to point and go, oh, that's great. See what he's doing? It's like, well, dude, 10 years ago, why wasn't he putting up numbers that we haven't even, should never be touched? I mean, honestly, he was that level of talented. I mean, it's kind of like a Lennox Lewis or a Klitschko in boxing of like, it's impressive, but I'd rather watch Mike. I still consider Mike or Ali greater. Sustained greatness is awesome and doing things that were your top 3 arguably every year. But, dude, he should have been. Bro, he really should have been. Again, most career points, 4th career assist, 4 MVPs, 20 All-Star games, yet he only led the league in scoring once. He never led the league in assist. He was 3rd still in MVPs to MJ and Kareem. He has 3 All-Star MVPs, but he played in 20 of them. He never had a Defensive Player of the Year. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, dude, that was 6'8", 260 with every skill set on the planet. This dude, oh my God, at the height of his powers, he really should have been like, I'm not even joking, 35, 10, and 10. LeBron James, arguably, watching him do what he's doing right now at 39, I just, in my head go, bro, at 28, 29, this dude should have easily averaged 35, 36 points a game, at least 9 to 10 rebounds and 10 assists. I mean, the fact that he didn't is criminal and unfair to the talent and the work ethic that he had, that he never had more of that killer instinct. I mean, at the height of his powers, in case you want to bitch at me, I'll give you some numbers here. I mean, like in 06, he was averaging 31 points, 7 and 7. In 08, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. 2010, same thing. Around 37, 8, 37, 9, 38, 7, something around those 3 numbers. And I mean, look, dude, at 8 years old, he was averaging 29, 8, and 7. So he's had the same stats, and that makes no sense other than, there really doesn't make sense. There's no reason at 39 he should have the same numbers he did at 29. And you look at other guys that were great or had great years. I don't think anybody puts Larry Bird over LeBron, at least statistically, but I mean, in 85, Bird averaged 26, 10, and 7. Giannis, I don't think anyone puts Giannis over LeBron, but I mean, in 2019, he not only averaged 30 points, he averaged 14 rebounds and almost the same amount of assists in 6. Jokic, big, fat, lazy Serbian who very talented guy, 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists in 2022. Russell Westbrook, does anybody put Russell Westbrook over LeBron James? No, but I mean, there was the year when he averaged triple-double. Russell Westbrook averaged 31.6, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. So if Russell Westbrook in 2016 could do that, yes, LeBron could have done that, and he should have done that. And look, 4 of 10 in the finals, I'm sorry, he could have used more of that killer instinct. I didn't want to get into the Michael Jordan thing, but I'm gonna.
It's the only argument I need, Sean.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Like, there was the year, like, in Michael Jordan, it was 87, I believe, 87, 88, averaged 35 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and in that year won the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. He won the scoring title. He was the leader in steals. He was the All-Star Game MVP, and he was the slam dunk champion in one goddamn year. That's what I'm saying. Like, I watch him at 39 and go, God dang it, he should have. We should have been like, dude, this dude is the greatest thing we've ever seen. And it's not that he's not, but he's still in a discussion. I guess when I watch him now, I get frustrated because I'm like, dude, it shouldn't have even been a discussion. At 27, 28, the height of your powers, you should have put up numbers that were close to, like, not Chamberlain, because that was different. But I mean, of like, dude, this is insane. How does Russell Westbrook have a better peak season than... You know what? I'll move on because I get into LeBron, I get fired up, and I need to do other things. Another thing we need to watch real quick in the Olympics basketball. We're going to call this, let me get more positive, a Jimmer of Hope. Jimmer of Hope. My man, Jimmer Fredette. A lot of y'all might have forgot Jimmer Fredette, and a lot of y'all may not know this is the first time. It's only the second time the Olympics have had it. It'll be the first time the Americans are going to play in it. There's 3-on-3 basketball this year. So that's new. That's interesting. I like it. I'm a big fan of 3-on-3. It's basically what you think it is. I mean, it's just like the 3-on-3 you play at home. It's half court. There's a 12-second shot clock. That's the one difference. But, I mean, other than that, you got to clear the ball out after a make or miss. First to 21 in 10 minutes wins. It's 1s and 2s. I mean, it's basically the 3-on-3 that you guys, and I will go to LA Fitness somewhere and play. It's just with much better players at a much higher level, and they're going for a gold medal in the Olympics. And they got other guys, Kareem Maddox, Dylan Travis, Canyon Barry on the team. Canyon Barry, famously son of Rick Barry. But the thing that's going to make this interesting for me is that guy, the guy at the top, Jimmer Fredette, who I still say never got a fair shake. I am a big proponent of being a former shooter, small college and stuff, leave me alone. But I mean, I did play a little bit. And so having to be on the opposite side of like watching guys like a Patrick Beverley or a Dylan Brooks or now Draymond Green, I don't like how the balance has always been okay if you're only a good defensive player and you're a shit offensive player. You know, that's the same counter yin and yang to me of like you're only good at one side of the floor and the other side you're almost detrimental and you need your team to help you out. Somehow it's acceptable to let the Beverleys on the court and the Greens on the court when he's struggling, you know what I mean, and others. But the guys that could score, the Jimmer Fredette's, I would say Jeremy Lin was part of this raw deal. There's been other ones as well, but guys who are offensive wizards, and that's harder to teach. It is harder to become an offensive wizard than it is to become a defensive athletic hustler who can work and play good defense and hustle and scrap. You can find those in a lot of places. It is hard to find guys like Jimmer freaking Fredette. And he never really got to, you know, he got a couple runs, he got a couple chances, and I know it didn't work out, and a lot of people say it's the defense, and I get it, but I do think there's a prevailing attitude of somehow the defensive guy who's an offensive idiot is allowed to play because it's okay because he really helps out on that side of the floor, yet somehow the offensive genius, which is harder to find, needs to be put on the bench because he's not that good at defense, even though do you get what I'm saying? That there's a weird lack of fairness there that bothers me, and Jimmer's always been at the top of that. So I'm really rooting for him. Obviously, also being from America, I hope they get it done because a lot of people forgot, or maybe you don't know. Maybe you're a young kid. I do a lot of this shit on TikTok. Jimmer Fredette was a stud. Jimmer Fredette, pop the video up. We got some highlights of him in 3-on-3. In case y'all don't know who this is, Jimmer Fredette was a 2011 NCAA Player of the Year. They called it Jimmer Mania. It was insane. Jimmer used to go off. I mean, this dude was averaging 29 points per game in college. In college. I mean, Caitlin Clark. He's basically the male Caitlin Clark. If I can put it together of like the level of hype and people watching him, somewhere between Caitlin and Steph Curry was Jimmer Fredette. Jimmer Fredette was that one. Again, 29 points per game. 40% from threes. He's one of the first ones to really bring in the logo three. Actually did right around the same time or a little bit before Steph of bringing that into popularity and to actual basketball. Took BYU to the first Sweet 16 they had since like 1981. Jimmer Fredette is that one. And I've never thought he got a fair shake in the NBA because of, you know, the defense and other things and not being able to be like, well, dude, I'm the best, one of the best offensive players the world's ever seen. 3-on-3 is a little different, and so hopefully he's able to bring us the gold. But, I mean, I'm rooting. Jimmer of Hope. Jimmer Fredette. That's my guy. I'm rooting for him. I hope you do your thing. I never thought you got a fair shake. Jeremy Lin, I'll throw in there. I don't think ever got a fair shake. There's certain guys who have always been like, I really want to see them get some, you know, ability to kind of prove themselves, and so he gets a chance to do it. And go look up old Jimmer highlights, man. Jimmer was that dude. Jimmer was that dude from the I Am Him tribe. He was that one. Very Caitlin Steph if they had a Mormon baby. I don't know if he's actually Mormon, but he went to BYU. They do not do what they do at the Olympics. Let me put it that way.
Having sex.
That's a whole other conversation. Soaking? Really? Gross. Sorry. Back to the world and back to basketball. Someone I'm not going to watch. Pop this up for me here, Mateo. USA women's basketball, I had for men's basketball, I said, beware the bullseye. USA women's basketball, beware the backlash. Excuse me. Let me reset that so I can edit it. USA men's basketball, I said, beware the bullseye. USA women's basketball, beware the backlash. No Angel, no Caitlin. You don't need them, right?
Don't worry. Don't worry.
And you know what? You probably don't need them to win, but the rest of us aren't going to watch it. And I really do think there's a little bit of a boycott here. I think a lot of us are like, bro, you don't need Angel? You don't need Caitlin? Cool. Y'all have fun with that. Go get your gold and see if anybody watches and anybody gives a shit. I really think there's going to be a significant, they're going to be like, God, the ratings aren't what we think they should be for women's basketball. And it's not that we don't like women's basketball. It's that we don't like them. And that's a big key in this. I have been a huge supporter. I mean, go look at my videos and stuff and go look at my old podcast. Dude, I have been promoting, I've been talking about women's basketball for the last couple of years more fervently than I've been talking about the NBA. So don't give me this, we're not supporting the women's basketball. We're not supporting these women. We're mad at these women. Because Angel and Caitlin should have been on that team, not just for their talents, but because it was obvious. You are somehow the only league that wants to bite the hand that feeds you, a historical problem you've had for years. But you were given these golden gooses, and God dang it, you guys, we're treating you equally here because it got so annoying at the start of the year. Your catty comments, the double teams, the cheap shots, the referees. Isaac Barnett in Caitlin's first game gets her in foul trouble in the first 3 minutes, 2 phantom calls. She has to sit in the WNBA's premier game and debut game of the season. The whole league seemed like determined to prove to them, you guys got to pay pay dues, and it's our league, and we're going to show you how to do things, and yada, yada, yada. And it culminated with them being omitted from the USA basketball team. So you know what? Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Go do your thing.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about us.
Don't worry.
And you probably will win the gold. See if anybody watches, see if anybody gives a shit. I know I'm on the list of people that are just like, dude, I will watch anything. I'll watch grass grow before I watch that team play right now. I am mad at them. I'm upset. I think a lot of us are. We are tired of the old school and the way they've been thinking. We want the new school. We want Angel. We wanted Caitlin out there. I can't wait for, the WNBA coming in the future with Paige and Juju and Flau'jae Johnson. I'm ready for the new school. Old school, y'all get your last gold and walk off into the sunset and take a hike. The rest of us are here for the new women's basketball. We're here for the new. We're not here for y'all. I don't think anyone's going to support them, and we really aren't going to watch. I honestly think that's going to happen. And speaking of old school versus new school, how'd that game go? How'd that All-Star game go? Oh, got to put this up. I was so happy watching this. Angel and Caitlin. How'd that go, USA? The two girls that you think weren't good enough? Who didn't even have as much talent on their roster as you did? In a game straight up where y'all play competitive. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear anybody on the WNBA Olympic team say, oh, no, that was just a warm-up game. You guys went at it hard, and they kicked your ass, and it was so fun to watch. Matter of fact, I wasn't the only one, just in case y'all missed out. A record 3.44 million people watched that All-Star game. That's a little bit significantly up from the 850,000 you had the year before, and is actually the third highest game watched ever in WNBA history. They had to go back to 1998 to find two games that were had a higher television ratings than that. That's 20-something years ago. And, I mean, they did their thing. The league leader in assists, Caitlin, led the entire game with 10 assists. The league leader in rebounds, Angel Reese, led the game with 11. She was a dog, doing her thing. Arike and Gumbawale went insane when Klay Thompson, 34 points. And lo and behold, the girls you didn't need beat Team USA basketball 117-109 in a highly competitive All-Star game, arguably the best All-Star game I've seen since 2003 with Michael Jordan on either side of the court. But again, 3.44 million watched it, and we all said, yep, that's what we thought. You didn't need them, right? They're not good enough. They're not ready yet. You guys got to, show them the way still. You can't show them the way on the court. You can't show them the way off the court. You sure as hell can't show them how to get ratings. Again, 3.44 million. Third highest game ever versus your 850,000. The league leaders in votes this year, 700,000 votes versus 95,000 last year. Caitlin and Angel, 1 and 2 in jersey sales. Jersey sales this year up 500%. They just signed their new television deal, $2.2 billion. They're now finally going to make money in the WNBA. Quadrupled their revenue. Everything to do with those two. 17 games this year. Had 1 million viewers so far. There weren't any of those last year. By the way, 15 of those, Indiana Fever games. Attendance for Fever games, 16.9 thousand at home, 15.9 thousand away. Also, all-time records in the WNBA. Angel is now number 1 in the WNBA in rebounds. She has her 15 straight double-doubles. It's a WNBA record. She's averaging 13.5 points per game, 12 rebounds. Caitlin, of course, is doing her thing, leads the Fever in points, leads the WNBA in assists, leads the WNBA in points created, leads the WNBA now for all-time assists in a single game with 19. She's the first rookie ever with a triple-double. But y'all don't need them. You're good. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it, Team USA. You guys go get your gold and see if anyone gives a shit or anybody watches. I'm on the other side of this. This is not a woman's thing. This is a you women thing. We like the new school. We want Angel. We want Caitlin on our screens more. I can't wait for Paige, Juju, and Flau'jae to show up, and I can't wait for the rest of y'all to walk off into the sunset with your bitterness and your whining and your bitching. We got a new league, and we're all about it. USA basketball, bye-bye on the women's side. Sorry. Not watching it. That was the main stuff I wanted to get into. I hopefully have a little bit of time real quick for this. Okay, good. This is something I sometimes like to just throw something in at the end. I don't mean, and this is not truly political. This was a video I found. Other ones I might have been considered pro too far the other side, so let me pick on this side a little bit because this was just hilarious.
You're fired.
Just like I said, I'm a big movie guy. I just saw Deadpool yesterday. Idiocracy was not supposed to be real. Idiocracy by Mike Judge, the guy who invented Beavis and Butthead, came up with a movie in 2006, and if you don't know the plot, it's 500 years in the future, only the dumb breed, and we're now a bunch of idiots, and we act and just vote and do everything like just complete idiots. And it's a great movie, and you're supposed to watch it. It's supposed to be a satire and a comedy. It was not supposed to be a prophecy. Somebody made a clip. So they're going to go to the RNC, and then they're going to go to clips from Idiocracy. And, bro, look, I love pro wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but god dang it, the Camacho character, and I won't even spoil anymore. Let's just put it up. Idiocracy. Not supposed to be a prophecy.
He always finds a way to win. And when he's back in our White House, America is going to start winning again.
He's got a higher IQ than any man alive. He's going to fix everything.
The price of food and gas and housing is out of control. And the only person who can clean this up is Donald Trump.
He'll fix the problems with all the dead crops. He's going to make them grow again.
He's going to win in November, and we're all going to be champions again when he wins.
I give you my word. He's going to fix that harmony.
Trump-a-mania, run wild, brother. Let Trump-a-mania make America great again.
That's what I thought.
The movie was made 18 years before that just happened. I mean, that's not supposed to... But God bless Hulk as far as like, dude, I've always said professional wrestlers, your finishing move, your ability to talk, and your theme song. This song, Hulk Hogan can get anybody hyped. Hulk Hogan can get anybody hyped. I'm telling you, Hulk Hogan was that one. So that was smart. But I mean, dude, the mustache, I mean, it was... I gotta go. I don't want to get into... I don't want to have to join... news network and have to discuss that. That's crazy. That was made 18 years before that. It should not be that accurate. I got to run. Enjoy the Olympics. The Olympians yourself, stay hydrated out there. You know, you're going to be doing a lot of the stay protected, and you guys stay safe, and I got to go.